Hello Nigeria, hello Africa, welcome to yet another interesting day to be alive and thankful. It's Eye on Issues coming to you live on the Spectrum TV. And of course we broadcast live on Star Times DTH Channel 421 and across other platforms, and of course free to air. You can definitely connect us. My name is Francis Oyi. As they say, without being alive and healthy, definitely there is nothing that we can achieve regardless of how gigantic those dreams and aspirations might be. Now today, a lot is happening across Nigeria, particularly with the announcement of the planned transfer of 8,000 naira monthly stipend as a way currently generating a lot of reactions. I'd be delighted, by the way, to get to hear what you feel about the move by the federal government to send 8,000 naira to Nigerians. That's 12 million households in Nigeria. Poverty beneath the poverty index. Those are the concerns across Nigeria. Of course, Nigerians have torn between different lines, while some move all around better economy for Nigerians to have a better sense of living. But that's not our focus today, right away. Nigeria faces tremendous health challenges, like the proverbial saying, health is wealth. There is no overstressing the critical role the healthcare sector plays in the life of the people and country. Like many sectors in Nigeria, currently facing multiples that an average of 20,000 Nigerians travel to India each year for medical assistance due to the absence of a solid healthcare system at home. The UNICEF said in a recent report that preventable or treatable infectious diseases such as malaria, pneumonia, diarrhea, measles, and HIV and AIDS account for more than 70% of the estimated 1 million under 5 deaths in Nigeria. Another report by the World Health Organization says that nearly 10% of newborn deaths in the world last year occurred in Nigeria, and furthermore, 5 countries accounted for half of all newborn deaths, with Nigeria third on the list. These are just indices that has been given over time as far as the Nigerian health challenges is concerned. Now, another area that needs to be looked into is the fact that regardless of how much Nigerian loses on a daily basis, the investment of government in terms of budgetary allocation to the health sector is a paltry 5% compared to the health sector is the way it is because of the inability of government to properly fund the sector. Apart from funding in the sector, we're also talking about the question or the challenge of brain drain, which of course borders on the inability of government also to make adequate provisions for the workforce within the Nigerian medical system. It is not because we do not have doctors, because about 77% of black doctors in the US and of course across Europe are said to be Nigerians. And literally it's been stated that there is no managerial positions or no top places. And of course, Nigerians have gone ahead to make significant impact in the health sector with giant strides achievement across board. Now, the question is, with all the resources in Nigeria and all that we have in terms of brains within the medical sector, why is there a brain drain? And why are Nigerians still suffering as a result of poor medical? These challenges and the importance of health, and of course, plays that side by side with the role of insurance, with a penchant for reading, and of course, engaging in lots of activities. With a background in microbiology, technology management, and health policy and planning, he comes with over a decade experience in health insurance ecosystem and has served as a NHIA coordinator for Rivers State in 2015, where he contributed in the drafting of the State Contributory Health Insurance Bill, which is now a law awaiting final implementation. Now, since 2021 till date, he serves as the NHIA coordinator for Akwa Ibom State, where his contributions have led to the eventual establishment of the quality healthcare, and Akwa Ibom State cannot be left out. Joining us virtually is Ibikubo Williams, the Akwa Ibom State coordinator, NHIA. Hello, welcome to Iron Issues.
Yeah, good evening, Akwa Ibomites, and thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. You're not just speaking to Akwa Ibomites at this point.
It's good to know.
All right. So how do you feel this evening, sir?
Privilege. Yeah, feel good. It was a hectic week, but I'm not happy actually. Yes.
All right. Good to know that you're finally getting a time to. You've been in the sector for decades plus and have made significant contributions. But let's talk about from the very basics. A lot of people hear NHIA, a lot of people hear the social scheme to talk about health scheme by the federal government and all the things. But most people are yet to come to terms with what NHIA.
Okay. NHIA is acronym for National Health Insurance Authority. And of course, we don't just start at NHIA, we started as NHIS way back 2004. Then it was National Insurance Scheme. And then, of course, the whole focus was to ensure that every Nigerian had, and of course, access to it. That was the focus. And over 2 decades so far, we would say, yes, we have not gained traction on that mandate, as it were. And the main reason, of course, was the fact that the act, the law establishing the agency then, there's the scheme. So that was the main stand. But now that we have been, transformed into NHIA, that's National Insurance Authority, by virtue of the act that was signed, the bill that was signed into law, May 19, 2022, by former President Muhammadu Buhari, which makes health insurance mandatory for every Nigerian. And now that is the game changer. So by virtue of that, so that's what I'll say for now. NHIA is set to ensure that every Nigerian has access to care. Not just every Nigerian, but of course, legal residents in Nigeria also should have access to quality health care. That's the focus of NHIA.
Okay, the focus is to ensure that every Nigerian has access to quality. But how has the awareness been in terms of Nigerians understanding the mandate of NHIA and keying into the different programs the agency has?
Yeah, I would say that health insurance still, I can say, is relatively new in our climate. So the awareness is just building up, just gathering momentum. All right, and that's why platforms like this on Wednesday, we engaged another agency, sister government agency, to collaborate with us and ensure that the message gets to the grassroots. So we are still on that path to ensure that every Nigerian hears about health insurance, accepts the message, and of course, purchases health insurance at different levels that they find themselves. And it's important that, of course, there is no class differentiation. There is nothing like, okay, this hospital is for the elites and all that. It's everybody that can come in, have access to the same quality healthcare at different hospitals that they choose. So that's what we're working towards.
Of insurance. Let's go deep down into understanding what health insurance is all about and how it's operated.
Okay, yeah. So that actually is a means by which you pay for, you contribute. That's the key word now. What you call a premium. That's a technical term. That's insurance, basically. So insurance has to do with premiums. So oftentimes health insurance is used interchangeably to mean free care, medical care, but it is not really, because health insurance has to do with somebody has to pay. All right, and there are two. You have a set group, all right? The set group that decides, okay, these are the disease burdens in our own community, as it were. You know the cost component of treating such, managing such cases, and then you now factor that into your, what we call the benefit package. So you know what to expect when you pay. So health insurance is like saying, paying in anticipation of an eventuality occurring. That's a health, some health-related issue coming up. So you make the payment, believing that definitely someday you will need premium, and use it for a whole year, and you get a refund. No, there's no refund, because actually there's a context of the healthy subsidizing for the sick, and then the rich subsidizing for the poor. So that's where we have a concept called cross-subsidization. So the payments are actually necessary to see that we have funds in the pool. All right, you put all the funds together, both from the rich, from the poor, as it were. Whenever somebody falls sick and goes to the hospital, you take from the pool and pay for the services that such a person, accessed. That's what insurance is basically about. So that eventually, when someone falls ill, he does not experience financial hardship because he has to take care of his, of his health condition. That's the real address. That's the real thing that insurance is set to address. So that because you want to stay healthy, you don't get into catastrophic spending. You don't become poor because you want to stay healthy. As I said sometime back, that some people work so hard to create wealth. Now, when they have created the wealth and some ailment comes, they spend all that wealth to procure health, as it were, which is not right. So it's best to have the consciousness of setting something aside, some percentage of your income, as it were, for health insurance, so that at least as one grows older, you have something that you can fall back on whenever maybe some age-related ailments come and all the rest. Taken from the pool, they can always take care of you.
Okay, now the goal is to access quality health as possible, as quick as possible, and also as affordable as.
Great question. When you consider the fact that health itself, healthcare is not cheap. It's not cheap, really. When you consider the fact that, of course, to access health care services in hospitals, you have to pay for the card, all right, to pay for basic tests. Then after paying for the basic tests, they arrive at the diagnosis, and then you pay for the medications. But when you consider the fact that for health insurance cases, when you pay your premium and you choose a hospital, you get to the hospital, you don't pay for any of these other things. For us, as people, see a doctor, no payment for basic tests or at the diagnosis. All you pay now is 10% of the cost of the total drugs you were given. All drugs you were given, you pay 10% of the drugs. I mean, consider that. So having to pay maybe as much as 10,000 naira per card, actually pay for the drugs that you'll be prescribed. Compare that these two scenarios that you see of the truth. Health insurance is affordable. And of course, another focus of health insurance is to limit the costs, the rising cost of healthcare services. Because as I said earlier, healthcare is not cheap. That's the arises because you're taking from the pool. It's not directly for your own pockets anymore. So even when there's a challenge, as it were, for us as somebody falls sick in the family, you see that family members come together, raise money. But if the person had some form of health insurance, they will not get to that point. So it is really to make healthcare affordable. Health insurance is to make healthcare affordable.
Now, does health insurance cover every form of ailment? Like you've listed, it covers a whole lot of things and it makes it a lot more easier for people to take care of themselves. But does it cover every form of ailment?
Now, health insurance cannot cover every form of ailment. Yeah, because really, we are now, for us in health insurance, for the NHI, the services are stratified. We have primary care, which is like saying approaching a primary provider, a primary care center. That's a primary care, or seeing a specialist, all right? And then, of course, tertiary diseases that have to do with maybe some specialized interventions and all the rest. So, for the cases that as you go higher, there will be need for some form of, maybe some form of co-insurance, which is some form of 50% payment or thereabout, depending on the proportion that we work out for you. Then the person has to pay a token, to cover for the cost component, or to reduce the cost component, rather, or reduce cost components for particular ailments. Like, let me give you an example now, quickly. If someone comes down with renal failure, all right, and needs to go for dialysis, all right, you find out that the cost for each session of dialysis, 6 sessions, where 50% of that cost will be borne by the health insurance package, 50% by the enrollee, as we call them. That's the patient in this case. So we cannot, because we are managing at once. Of course, there can be room for improvement. There can be room for adding certain kind of ailments as they become more prevalent in particular clients. So you have to look at, okay, certain things should be added. And once it is added, it will also add to the cost. You don't start a health insurance package and then say you want to take all, ailments in your community at once. Because if you do that, tendency is that the main focus is manage the funds in the pool to see that at least anybody that comes down with one ailment or the other, that's within your scope, they can always have access. And then when there's something beyond the basic scope you have given, there can be a little payment, additional payment, and then of course it can be,
Health insurance has a different packages, but I'd like to know what are the different packages and what are the price ranges like? Are these price range still going back to the question of affordability? You've also highlighted that it's not everything, it's not all the element that is being catered for, but let's start with the different packages that the NHIA has to offer Nigerians.
Okay, good. The NHIA, of course, proud to now, as NHIS, everybody saw us as just for the government, for federal government employees only. So truly we have, as NHIA, we have two sectors that we cover. The formal sector, which is like, for the government employees, basically, and then the informal sector. For the formal sector, under we have what we call the organized private sector, which is for private sector concerns. Multinational companies, some small companies that live like 10 employees or thereabouts, they are all on the formal sector. Then for the informal sector, back in the days, we used to manage what we call the community-based health insurance scheme. So that we're gradually, leaving that behind for, for the states to handle, right? Then we have a program for students. When students get a certain age, say 18 years, their names are removed as dependents from their parents, in the government, in the public sector. So they are expected to be in the university or polytechnic or college of education. And with as little as 2,000 naira, that gives them access to care for the whole session. All right, and that care means that they don't even pay what you call co-payments for their drugs, for procedures if they have to go through one, for whatever. Imagine that you pay 2,000 naira for one session and you don't pay anything again. You access care from your school's medical center. So that's for T-shape. Then of course, the main one that we have now, which is like our flagship program, as we call it, is the GiveShip. GiveShip is the acronym that means Group, Individual, and Family Social Insurance Program. And for this, is a way of formalizing the informal sector. Actually, GiveShip is set to ensure that self-employed individuals, unions and associations, families, religious groups, and all the rest, sociocultural groups, occupational-based groups can have access to healthcare. And for this, as I said, the group platform is a minimum of 10 persons, 10 and above, at 15,000 naira for that group, per person in that group per year. You pay it annually. All right. Then for the individual category, it could be one person, two persons, or three people all together for the price of 45,000 naira for 1 year. 45,000 naira for 1 year for individual category of 1 to 3 persons. Then of course the family category also. Family category starting from starting at 4 persons is about that converts to 60,000 naira. So each person you add in a family group for a family category is 15,000 naira per person. So maximum of 9. So for these categories that all put together, the group, the individual, the family, these yearly payments, gives them access to the same package that people in government have access to. And it's a very robust package that covers, basic care, that's primary care, secondary care, you need to see a consultant, and even up to tertiary care. Maybe the person as an enrollee now presents with cancer. we have an arrangement with a pharmaceutical company, Roche, chains, has been established, where the cancer patient pays 20% for the cost of drugs that will be administered to the person. The NHIA pays 30%, and then that pharmaceutical company pays 50%. So you can see that it's a broad spectrum, all right, where with such amount of money, you have access to a very robust package that can keep the family, the group, and of course, the individual category very healthy, at least for over a year. And it's interesting that, of course, you have ability to renew. So renew maybe like 3 months to the expiration of your annual package, you can renew. To avoid the waiting period, because there's always a waiting period. There's always a waiting period for every of our programs, of course, except for the C-ship for the students. And then we have gift ship also for core members. Yeah, we have gift ship for core members. Such that for every core member that is mobilized to go to camp, the person has instituted permanent education camp for core members in Akwa Ibom. And there's a facility attached to that camp clinic where core members are attended to for the 3 weeks period. They'll be there for orientation. And when they're out of orientation, they still continue to have access to care in their place of primary assignment. So for the whole 1 year that they are serving their fatherland, Nigeria, they have access to healthcare services without paying a dime because the federal government has paid for them.
I'd like to talk to you more on the package for the Nigerian students and the core members, particularly because in the universities across our campuses in Nigeria, you always have challenges of students, different scenarios of students, dying because of not being able to on the parts of the students. But schemes just like this can actually help solve that. Probably we'll talk more on that when we return from this break. But please stay with us.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on topical issues affecting the common Nigerian, from issues on politics, education, health,
lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken
every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder.
I'm talking about cases which are in court. Is this an adversary proceeding? It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship. My lord, sorry, my lord. I think I'll be in consequence.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Glad to welcome you back. It's still Ion Issues coming to you live on Spectrum Television, and today we are focusing on your health, the place of insurance, and of course the National Health Insurance Authority and the role they have to play in helping Nigerians and residents in the country access quality, affordable and accessible quality healthcare service delivery. My guest is the Akwa Ibom State Coordinator of an NHIA, in the person of Ibikubo Williams. And of course, shortly before we went on our first break, we were talking about the different packages that have been made available, and we are going to continue that conversation, particularly focusing on the Nigerian students. Mr. Williams, let's talk about the package for students. At just 2,000 naira, just before the break, you said Nigerian students across tertiary institutions can access quality health. But we seem to always have a problem where it seems that most of the Nigerian students, I personally, I first will want to start, how long has this program been ongoing for the Nigerian student? Because I know during my days back in school, I didn't hear of such. And then if it's not been on for long, how is the awareness carried out so that as much as possible, Nigerian students can access these?
Yeah, great question. Actually, it commenced sometime in 2014. And in terms of awareness, as an organization, we have reached out to the Regional Commission for Colleges of Education, NCCE. We have reached out to the one for Polytechnics, kind of the full now, and established the need for health insurance for their students. And of course, they bought into the idea. They made it, very clear to all the institutions under their purview. So, of course, first and foremost, they need to have a medical center. The school must have a medical center that will be assessed by NHIA and then accredited to render services. All right. And after that, of course, that led to the abolition of
Okay, sorry, we seem to have some network challenges there, but my guest has been Ibikubo Williams, the state coordinator for NHIA in Akwa Ibom State, and of course services as far as being in Nigeria is concerned. And of course, we've also been talking about different concerns. I think we have Ibikubo back. Welcome back. Sorry for the network glitch. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So as I said, we are engaged in various regulatory bodies of different institutions in Nigeria, meaning universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, even up to colleges of health sciences, of health technology, and the likes. So we're engaged to the extent that they bought into the idea and passed it on to the various schools under the purview to make sure they have T-ship management committees in place in their schools.
This is Nigeria, and some of these challenges are recurrent decimal, but we do hope we get past that. So, like Gus has rightly mentioned, the health programs meant for students at a paltry sum of 2,000 naira should afford Nigerian students access to quality health, and of course, like he rightly stated, they need to have a medical facility on campus. But looking back, that this is a program that has been in existence since 2014. I recall I was still in school back then. And I never for one heard about, health insurance. Definitely would have jumped on the roll. So probably once we have our guests back, we'll be asking him the next line of question as to what has been the major challenge why Nigerian students seems to not have access to these or enrolled to benefit from these idea brought forward by the national. Stay with us. And check ourselves back before coming back. Well, welcome back, Williams. Sorry the network is a little bit unfriendly today, But we do hope we continue to wrap up this conversation shortly before we have another glitch. Okay, so let's continue with that trend of thought about the access to the package for Nigerian students.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Great, then, great. So as I said, so payment of 2,000 naira grants them access to care in the school's health center, all right, which must have been accredited by NHIA to render such services. And the package is very, very have access to, meaning primary care, secondary care. And of course, guess what? Even students that are married, let me just use that as they have access to delivering baby while in school. The package includes 2 live births while in school, even up to cesarean, running since 2014. Most of the federal universities in Nigeria have T-ship running there. Most of the federal universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, even up to private universities also. At this students, even when they're out of school, they realize that, oh, they really needed this care. And then eventually, the federal government now pushed, while they're in school, having paid 2,000 naira, they don't pay anything again. They don't pay for drugs, they don't pay for tests, they don't pay for procedures, except of course for starting high-end investigations, procedures that might need co-insurance. Maybe something like CT scan, MRI, the cases of dialysis, and all. Yeah, those are the kind of things that will need co-insurance. Meaning, but I can tell you that most times for basic healthcare, they don't pay a dime after paying 2,000 naira as a tuition fee, as a point. And it is paid together with their school fees. All right, they pay to the school fees, and then the school would constitute what they call a T-ship management committee, where of course NHIA coordinator or NHIA rep will be a member of that. So is functional. As we speak, I'm a member of the management committee for University of EU, where EO Bible and all the work. You see that they also buy into it, but it's going to save them a lot. Like you mentioned about the demise of students and all that. Such things will be a thing in the past, really, if they embrace it, because the people will not have to ordinarily have medications for. Such things will not happen anymore if they buy into the program.
All right, let's come back to the regular enrollees of the program. How do you identify and bring persons to be part of the insurance program and thus benefit from it?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Sorry.
How do you get to identify persons and bring them to be part of the insurance program?
Okay, well, we have employed individuals, small-scale enterprises, our what we call cultural groups, unions, associations, occupational-based groups, artisans, just name them, all of them. We go out to meet them. We go attend their meetings, and then of course sensitize them about this new program called GiveShip. And I can tell you, they've been coming, to our office, and a number of them, of course, have got into the program. A number of them are even accessing care as we speak. Some of them have delivered baby within the program. So platforms like this is what we use really. We go on air, we go to radio, like TV and all the rest. We get to let people know about the program, of course, ensure that they eventually purchase, either for themselves, maybe for some other people that they know, like political office holders. We expect, we know that our, our House of Assembly members have what they call constituency projects, local government, constituency, but for his, I think over like 500 constituents, 500 members of his constituency that he bought for. So we call that GiveShip C. They are standing for constituency. So we encourage people to do such. And of course, more so if you are affluent, you are privileged and all that, and you have people that always come around you to ask for support. Maybe a child is sick, and all that. Instead of giving those handouts every other day, you can just purchase the insurance package for them, gift ship for them. At least for 1 year, they won't come back to you asking for 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. Once you get the package for them, for that 1 year, all they need to do is go to the hospital, and at best, as I said, all they'll pay is 10% of the total cost of drugs, at least for this program.
All right, there is a class of people in Nigeria serious concern about, particularly owing to the fact that the held statistics that show that Nigeria is still leading as far as the burden of sickle cell anemia is concerned, and the future of our workforce is seriously being threatened. I'd like to ask, does your agency cover insurance for persons living with SCD in Nigeria?
Living with STD, you said?
SCD, sickle cell disorder.
Okay, sickle cell, oh, sorry, okay. Sickle cell, well, we don't have a clear-cut package. A sickle cell, patient is the dependent of our enrollee, maybe the parents, the government employee or something. Definitely, there will be something that the health insurance can cover for that, some measure of counseling and the rest. All right, it's all part of. Then of course, basic medications the person will need will also be covered. But we don't have, because we cannot now design package for every major ailment as well. Like we cover hypertensive patients, diabetic patients, all right? But there is more like, should I say, for the basic routine drugs person will need and all that, they're all covered. And of course, when we have frequency of things like that with the facility, it will cost the person money. But once it's insurance, once there's a cover for the person, he won't have to bother that much. He just have to show up there, pick the drugs, pay his 10% co-payment, and leave.
All right, let's talk about the challenges that NHIA has faced so far in bringing to birth these government programs to Nigerians and its residents. What has been the challenges?
Well, the major challenge has been getting past the barrier of acceptance, because we have a larger society where we are very, we just want to believe that, look, all will be well, or, they have some people, of course, have some traditional beliefs. Some, of course, have, become very overtly spiritual beliefs and all the rest. So when you talk about insurance, they tell you, it's not my portion. I cannot fall sick and all the rest, And then, of course, some people have their own, their ties with their root and the rest. Some of them tend to say, okay, whatever they come down with, they know that there's some concoction somewhere that they can go take and all that. But, of course, we believe that over time, people are beginning to understand that of a truth, there's a need, to have a pack be healthy. That's on one hand. And of course, we also have challenge in terms of, our own administrative structure in our system, where funds meant for providing care that should not be taxed or something, that should not experience any kind of hurdles in terms of access, we have that challenge in-house, within our own system as a government. But of course, those are things that have been presented to, of course, to the major administration in place now, and I think they're looking into it. Because really, if the funds that we pay to hospitals are eventually taxed and all that, it then means that the value we place on it will be reduced. But I really don't want to go to the challenge, I must say, because we have developed structures that, of course, are addressing challenge over time. People are beginning to buy into this. It's very clear. With the numbers they are, receiving with time, it shows that people are understanding the need for it, and they are always, of course, coming out to buy. So I think we should focus more on the things that we have done so far, and it's really advancing this cause.
All right, so before we let you go, because we're running out of time, in just 60 seconds, speaks to the minds of Nigerians, particularly the student community and its relevant agencies on this government scheme, so that we can have a lot more people coming in to benefit, particularly the students and the core members.
Okay, students and core members, great. Now, I want to say this to a student out there. If your school doesn't have P-ship, then please look out for the NHIA office in your locality, that's your state, because really it will save you a lot of money. Because normally when you pay medical fees, you still pay for medical tests, you still pay for all the other things that you need while in school. Imagine for the session, how much you get as your pocket money, and as money for upkeep, that you have to spend so much, or state where your school is domiciled, reach out to them, and of course they can talk to your school management to establish one, because the benefits are just enormous. Then as a core member out there, of course, for me personally, what we do is, we have a mandate, of course, it's clear. We go to the orientation camps to sensitize core members about health insurance package. But unfortunately, some of them, whilst at the camp, don't listen to what we tell them. So when they go out, when they are posted to their place of primary assignments, and maybe they fall sick and all that, they go pay their monies also. I mean, imagine such mega allowance they get, they still pay out. Government has paid for your healthcare services. You did not spend a dime out of your allowances anymore. So what you need to do is, when you locate, even while at the camp, they are covered, all right, there's a facility, hospital, your camp clinic, they'll take care of you for the 3 weeks there. After the 3 weeks, right from your PPA, place your primary assignment, till you leave, till you pass out, even back. 3 weeks after passing out parade, you still have health insurance cover. So core members should know it. If once you are mobilized for your youth service here, you have an insurance package automatically. It is there. In case of a road traffic accident, in case of whatever, all you need to do is present your ID card as a call-up member, so your call-up number, or your ID card as a call member in the hospital, and from there, HIA has got to stay. Health insurance is the way to go. It's just the way to change, the health indices of our country. Because we always talk about, we say, oh, infant mortality rate is high, maternal mortality rate is high, and the rest. Of course, it will be high when people don't have access to care, because health is not cheap. And that's why our motto is NHIA granting financial access to quality health care for all Nigerians. Because we know that finance can be a barrier. But health insurance is here to ensure that finance is no more a barrier. Because once, is that you have the ability to pay, or somebody will pay for you.
Thank you so much, Hebe Kubo Williams. I know definitely if we continue, we could possibly talk till tomorrow and still not exhaust the different issues we need to address when it comes to health. But maybe we'll have another conversation still bordering on this. Thank you so much for making out the time to be here with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Do have a lovely evening. Well, that's the size of our package on today's edition of Iron Issues. Health is wealth, and with quality health, then you can access and do everything that you have set out your mind to do. It's been wonderful having this conversation with you. As a student, please ensure that you find a way to benefit from the programs of the government. Of course, as a core member, is also very important. I find it very difficult that all through my years in school, even wishing you a lovely weekend, I remain Francis Oyema, aided. And of course, stay glued to Spectrum TV as we continue with the rest of our programming. From me to you is bye-bye.